I'd like to call the meeting to order. Mrs. Burns, roll call.
Mr. Sullivan,
Present.
Mr. Parentano,
Present.
Mr. Allen.
Present.
Mrs. Bowman is absent with prior notice. Ms. Boyle.
Present.
Mr. Feather.
Here.
Mrs. Hallenbeck.
Present.
Mr. Kovitz. Mr. Marrington. We have a quorum.
Thank you. Please rise to the Pledge of Allegiance. The board met in executive session this evening prior to this meeting to discuss matters of employment, issues related to labor relations, matters related to litigation, and matters related to school safety and security. The district mission statement, the Neshaminy community builds futures by empowering each child to become a productive citizen and a lifelong learner. Ms. Burns, any announcements?
No announcements.
Thank you. Mr. Jones, superintendent's report.
Good evening, everyone. We have at each of our first meetings of the month an announcement related to the artwork that's here in our boardroom. This month, it's our pleasure to display Schweitzer Elementary students' artwork under the direction of Miss Todd out of Schweitzer, and we congratulate them for some great artwork, and we're going to have this up for the entire month and thank them for their creativity and sharing. Attached to the superintendent's report, also at this meeting, the first meeting of the month, is the enrollment report for the district. That's available for you. There's a note there in my report talking about so we have some students here. You'll like to hear this. The 2 snow days that we had will not need to be made up as student days. I saw that motion out there. We will be making them up as faculty days, and we have some important staff development work to do at the end of the year, and so that will allow for some good work here in district, but we don't need to make up that time based off of our calendar, the number of days, number of minutes for students here in Pennsylvania, so we're good to go on that, and that will be acted on at the next meeting by the board. There is a school resource officer agreement that's in the works with Lower Southampton Township. We expect to be approving that at our meeting later this month, and so we look forward to having a relationship with Lower Southampton like we do with Middletown Township. We had a really difficult electrical issue here at Maple Point earlier this week. We were very fortunate. Our facilities people, in conjunction with an outside contractor, were able to do some really good work, and though we were down for a day, an entire substation here was replaced in short order. We had a generator on the scene. We were able to run the rest of the week, and we switched back over to Pico on Sunday, so we're in good shape now, but it was a major event. And we were fortunate to be able to take care of that as quickly as we did. And again, thanks to all the people in district and to the Carr and Duff Incorporated group who supported us significantly in that effort. Gym night was held last weekend, another excellent event for our student body. We had over 1,200 students participating at the high school in what is just a wonderful student-led opportunity to celebrate a rich history here at Neshaminy. And so the red team won, but it seems like it always goes down right to the very end, and our kids exhibit a lot of sportsmanship right throughout. And so we will look forward as they gear up for next year. It'll be here before we know it again. Another thing that comes around annually is a senior ball for our high school students who help senior citizens here celebrate, and it actually is well attended to the point where we actually have a notice in my bulletin, and it was on Facebook as well, looking for businesses or any donations for food and raffle. We have a lot of seniors in the area who take advantage of this, and it's a great opportunity for some intergenerational engagement, and so we look forward to that. That's going to happen this year, Saturday, March 23rd, from 3 to 6 p.m. in Gym 3. Some We Build Futures awards were given out this past month. These awards recognize district staff who make significant contributions to the advancement of the district mission or implementation of our district strategic plan. Sue DeCesria, the secretary to the principal at the high school, was awarded, along with Rita Dennis, who's a Bucks County Intermediate Unit aide who works with us in Tawanka. and a wonderful recess aide, Diane Ratka at Tawanka as well. We look forward to getting out again this month for more of these recognition awards, and we thank those individuals for their support. And then just some late announcements here. First off, Friday night, Maple Point Coaches versus Cancer. They hit their goal of a $20,000 amount that they raised in a one-night event. It was phenomenal. It's a multi-year annual event here at Maple Point. They do a wonderful job, so we congratulate Maple Point for that ongoing effort. I also have a 7:30. There's a 7:30 game where our girls basketball are in a state playoff game this evening versus Hazleton in the Bethlehem Liberty High School Gymnasium. It starts at 7:30. I'm sure I'll be getting some text messages about that. Our cheerleaders just this last weekend won. They won their division at the Grand National Championship in Virginia Beach, and they were the best overall team as well, not just in their division, but overall. So congratulations to them, and also to the JV team that was there competing and came in second place as well. So great efforts on the part of our cheerleading team. And then yesterday, just in case any of you experienced some difficulty, we had no internet service here across the district, as well as in a number of school districts in the county, because we all subscribe through the IU, and the IU had a fiber optics cable problem that they fixed at 2 o'clock this morning. All of our email came in at that time, and we were catching up today with some of that. So it's interesting how much we rely on technology today. Today, when you forget a laptop, you're halfway to work, you turn around, you go back and get it because you can't do your work without it. And when that internet went down, we all realized how much we relied on that internet for a lot of what we do, both in offices and in classrooms. But we survived, and so we were back up 2 o'clock in the morning, and there was a very important email that went out from our director of technology. Back on, everything's okay, so we're good to go. Thank you, Mr. Sullivan.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. This month on Board Docs, there's reports from Anthony Devlin, our Director of Pupil Services. The semi-annual report's on there. So if you want to take a look, just log on to Board Docs and you can look at that report. That brings us to our presentation for tonight. Mr. Jones?
We've been fortunate to have our elementary schools coming throughout the school year to give us a little glimpse into some of the important things that are happening within the buildings. And so this evening with us is the Pearl Buck Elementary School. Mr. Kern, their principal, is going to introduce who's with them.
Good evening. I'm Brian Kern, principal at Pearl Buck, and tonight our third grade team will be presenting their hydroponics unit. This is something that's been ongoing for much of the school year, and we have with us our third grade teachers, Mrs. Gregory, Miss Keenley, Mrs. Lyson, Mrs. Mayer, and Mrs. Takis. We also have two student representatives from each homeroom, Ariana Lenahan, Gianna Contorso, Harish Lakshmanan, Berkeley Brenner, William Edwards, Jillian Adams, Kara Sullivan, Kyle Rugg, Emily Schumacher, and Walter Strauss. During this presentation, our teachers and students will tell you a little bit about the project, their experiences, and a little bit about what they have learned. They'll also be sharing some of the product that came from their hydroponics growth. So at this point, I'd like to hand this over to Mrs. Gregory, who will introduce the next portion.
Hi, I'm Mrs. Gregory. So in third grade, our first unit in science is called Structures of Life. And in the Structures of Life unit, hydroponics is introduced as a method of growing plants. So for our project-based learning, we decided to expand upon this. So we purchased an Aero Garden Farm for each of our 5 classrooms. And now the rest of our 10 students are going to share with you their learning and their experience with the hydroponics. All right, Berkeley, come on up.
Hi. First, we set up our Aero garden by putting the lettuce and tomato seeds into the pods. Then we added water and nutrients. Nutrients must be added because plants would normally get them from soil. But when you're growing hydroponically, you don't use soil.
All right. These are pictures of the hydroponics, them growing them, a salad party, and we also just went on a field trip on Friday to Delaware Valley College to see their hydroponics.
Over the next few weeks, we added water and nutrients. When the Aero Garden told us the water was low or it was time to add nutrients, we measured and graphed the growth of the lettuce and tomatoes. We took pictures as they grew because there were no bees. We had to pollinate the tomatoes ourselves so the tomatoes would grow. This is what we use to pollinate our plants. You put the bristles on the top into the flowers on the tomatoes. You press this button right here. You can actually see the pollen when you pollinate the plants. Once you see the pollen on the flowers, that tells you can move to the next flower. We celebrated our success by having a salad party. We ate our lettuce and tomatoes and added our own toppings and dressing. Here are some lettuce and tomato samples if you would like to try.
So tell them what they're getting.
To further extend our learning, we are starting to build our own hydroponic systems. We started by researching different methods because we only had a budget of $7.
All right, come on up. Do you want me to hold that for you?
We took a net cup and filled it with rock wool and clay pebbles. We put the seeds in the rock wool and we put everything in a jar. We covered the jar in black to prevent the growth of algae. This is called the cracky system.
You want to take it off, and then you can walk around and show it to all of them. Here, you can walk around with that. Thank you. So that really concludes our hydroponics. Well, next we're going to be growing flowers in our hydroponic system, but all the students are making their own hydroponic system by researching and, applying what they learned. And that's it.
Ms. Gregory, don't get too far away because there might be some questions, and I realize it's not fair to put you have colleagues here who could help you answer these questions. And I thank you all for coming out tonight. Does anyone have any questions for Pearl Buck, the teachers, the students?
Third grade. That's a question I can answer. sorry. So it does grow up, and it comes with like a wire, a trellis, thank you. Miss Lyson knows all the correct words. And it goes around. So as it grows up, you put that support in, and it supports it. And there's also, like the lettuce, so much of it grew, the middle of it supports itself also. And then we harvested it, and then it grew back, and we've had lots of lettuce. Oh.
Thank you for reminding me. There we go. Okay, so of the kids that came up, do this is a science-related thing, right? What are there any people who want to be like scientists someday, or anybody want to do something science-like? Nice, excellent. Thank you. Appreciate it. Okay. Yeah.
I just want to make a comment that I just think it's fantastic. I remember as soon as you brought that up, I remember reading. Is where my geek comes out. My dad used to get a magazine called Popular Science, and when he was done with it, I used to go through it cover by cover. And I remember coming across an article on hydroponics, and it just fascinated me. I'm not sure exactly why, other than we always had a garden in the backyard, and part of my duties was to weed. And that totally, and I remember having these big ideas about building trays down in the basement and hanging them until my dad put an end to that whole concept. But I just think that's fascinating. That how many years ago now, and we're doing it in school now. That's fantastic. Thank you.
So you're doing this all indoors? And the water comes from our faucets. Do we do any water recovery from outside and bring it in to use?
Next year.
Just asking.
It was only
So
$7
we're
budget,
using
Bob.
grow lights. And we're teaching the kids about the times and the intervals for growing with
Yeah.
regard.
Yes, and it's the garden. I mean, the one that we purchased. It's all it's pretty cool because you select tomatoes, and it tells you how long the lights need to stay on and everything. So, we don't have to do a lot of that work, but for them, he had to cover it so that it wouldn't. So they had to do that research and find that themselves.
That's awesome.
So yes, but the system also, teaches us, it tells us when to add the nutrients. It tells us the lights go off on their own and they come back on their own. So it's great.
Thank you.
Commend you all for doing this with $7. Now, if we can just apply that to the rest of the budget, we're going to be in great shape this year. So great job.
Maybe we can go out to the local community and maybe get some donations to do something more.
So I do want to commend all of our young people who were here, the students. You did a phenomenal job. It's not easy to come up to that microphone. You were all very clear in how you spoke to the board. You were confident. Obviously, you were practiced, and you were very impressive, all of you. And so congratulations to each of you for what you did this evening to share what you did in your class. And to the teachers and to Mr. Kern, it's interesting, you're, I think, maybe our fourth or fifth school to be here, and you're at least the second, maybe third, to talk about your project-based learning. And you're making your own choices, and it's clear that there's excitement about this. You wouldn't be coming here to talk about worksheets that you've done in class. And there's obviously excitement on the part of you as teachers and for them as the learners to learn the science in this way, and we appreciate you sharing so our board members get a sense of what project-based learning is all about. Thank you so much. We have certificates for our students, so before you pull out of here, because you do have to get home for homework, you don't have to stay for the whole meeting, but we do have certificates. Mr. Sullivan, the board president, is going to present them to you. Stay with us.
Okay. That brings us to the first public comment period. Ms. Burns, anyone? No sign-ups? Okay. Then we'll keep moving, okay? We have two action items tonight. The first one is 2.01, personnel support appointments. Resolved that the Neshaminy Board of School Directors hereby approves the following appointments of support staff: Sandra Concours, Jacqueline Natelli, Elizabeth Rosa Ramos. Can I get a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Piratano. Any comments or questions? All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
I'm sorry, aye. I'm sorry. I was reading the next motion. Sorry.
All right.
I'm an aye.
Motion passes 8-0 with a slow 8 there. Okay. 2.02, contracted services business. Resolved that the Neshaminy Board of School Directors hereby approves the contractual agreement with Tom Josiah Consulting, LLC through December 31, 2019. Can I get a second? Second by Mr. Feather. Comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 8-0. The following are items for approval at the public meeting. 3.01, revised 2018-19 school calendar with 2019 graduation date. 3.02, acceptance of the 2017-18 audit report. 3.03, school resources officer interagency agreement with Lower Southampton Township. 3.04, budget transfers. 3.05, bids. 3.06, the Toshiba lease. 3.07, home instruction. 3.08, acceptance of donation. 3.09, first reading of policy series 800. 3.10, overnight trip. Yeah,
3.11.
3.11, I want to pull out 3.1 overnight trip. I want to pull that out.
Yeah, we're going to ratify and affirm it at the next meeting.
Ratify and affirm at the next, okay.
Letting you know about it now, but we're going to ratify and affirm.
Okay, all right. All right, 3.11, Sunday facilities. Let me read this and come back to it in a minute, yeah. Okay. I have one question on 3.10. By the next meeting, that will have already occurred.
Good eyes, everyone. So originally, the thought was we would just simply ratify and affirm the fact that it happened because of the playoff nature. We just found out about that more recently. But the fact that we did have action items this evening, we don't always have them. We could have moved that up into the action item. So it's your pleasure. You can make it an action item, move it up, or take action on it, or you can leave it and ratify and affirm it at the next meeting.
Let's make an action item, yeah. I don't like approving after the fact. Okay. All right, so I'd like to make a motion. Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to approve the overnight trip to Bucknell University on March 14th to March 17th. Can I get a second? Second by Mr. Feather or Mr. Allen. All in favor? Aye. Yeah. Opposed? Motion passes 8-0. Okay. Committee reports. Mrs. Hollenbeck, Business Operations.
Our next business operations meeting is April 2nd, 6:30 here in this boardroom, and the budget will be discussed. So anybody that has interest to learning about the intricacies and everything that goes into the budget and how difficult of choices we have to make, I highly recommend that everybody comes out to that. That's where we discuss everything. Thank you.
4 point, educational development, Ms. Boyle?
At our last meeting, the committee discussed curriculum and material renewal, the professional development plan, the data integrity plan, and the instructional technology plan. Our next meeting will be March 28th, 6:30 in the boardroom. All are encouraged to come.
Yeah, why not come to education?
Yeah, right. Yeah, nobody ever does.
Okay, thank you. Facilities and planning, the next meeting is tomorrow night at 6:30 at Sandburg. Policy, Ms. Boyle?
Okay, let me see, our next meeting is going to be April 16th, and we are going to discuss class rank and the employee section.
Thank you. Why don't you take the IU board too?
Okay. The next IU meeting is going to be on the 19th, and there's going to be a special student art gallery reception from 4:30 to 7, and all are welcome. It's in Doylestown, at,
March 19th or April 19th?
March 19th.
March, yes. I didn't know that.
Neshaminy Education Foundation, Mr. Feather.
Thank you to Chris Stanley for this update. The Neshaminy Education Foundation Board met at Maple Point yesterday. Among the items discussed was upcoming Harlem Wizards game, which will be held Saturday, April 6th at 7 p.m. at Neshaminy High School. A team of Neshaminy staff members, including Superintendent Mr. Jones, will take on the Wizards in a fundraising game that is sure to be a lot of high-energy family fun. I can't wait. General admission tickets are $12 in advance and available for purchase online at the district website. The Neshaminy Alumni Committee is seeking nominations for the first annual Alumni Achievement Awards as well. This new award will honor the post-graduation professional and personal achievements of our alumni to inspire today's students and the entire community. The deadline is Friday, April 12th, and nominations can be submitted online at Neshaminy District website. Thank you for your support, and please do what you can. Thank you.
Thank you. PSBA Liaison, Mr. Puritano.
Thank you, Mr. Sullivan. Not much to report. Recently, the board was notified that there are some PSBA seminars available for board members. Contact the superintendent's office if you want to attend. And there is a recent release of the 2019 State of Education in PA. The PSBA is one of the supporting organizations that publishes this report. It's a survey of the entire state, all 501 school districts plus charter schools as well. There's lots of interesting information in there about not only about the nuts and bolts of finance and administration, but also about test scores, graduation rates, which I'm proud to see that Pennsylvania's graduation rates continues to rise. In 2016-17, it's reported that the rate is almost 89%. The national average is 84%. So Pennsylvania schools are definitely excelling, even though we want to get that up to 100%. At least we're going in the right direction, and we've had steady growth over the last 4 years. So you can go to the psba.org website, and you can find a link to this 2019 State of Education report, and you might find some interesting facts in there. So thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Allen, Tech Board.
Yes, good evening. The Tech Board met Monday, February 25th, under a number of routine items. One in particular that we voted on was the Summer Exploratory Program. We are putting the faculty and personnel in place for that, making some final adjustments to that curriculum. And I wanted to read off a couple of bullet points brought from the student representatives. See how the tech school students are doing. Number one, Bucks County Technical High School had 58 students compete at the Skills USA District 2 competitions. Students traveled to several locations to compete over a 4-day period against 7 other technical high schools. 78% of our students came home with medals, scoring first, second, or third place. The first place winners will move on to the Skills USA State competition in Hershey from April 10th through April 12th. Very proud of our students. Bucks did that. The Drama Club is working hard. This year's production of How to Succeed in Business Without Really Trying. Tune into the website for ticket sale information. The Challenge Day, that was scheduled for Thursday, February 21st, was canceled. I believe that was due to weather. It will be rescheduled sometime in the spring. We don't have a date quite for that. Challenge Day is an opportunity for our students to know they're not alone, that adults truly care about them. The goal of Challenge Day is to help stop bullying, violence, and alienation that are sadly a part of many millions of young people's daily day. And the last item, on a more upbeat note, on January 26th, 3 of our Key Club members participated in the 2019 Easter Polar Plunge. They jumped into the freezing cold Delaware River to raise awareness and funds for the Special Olympics, and something that is near and dear to my heart. The money will help athletes around Bucks County train and compete for free. And I do not have any update on how the students themselves fared. I'm sure they were cold. And the last item here is, we've already discussed, the next joint tech board meeting will be March 25th, and it is also the evening of the board recognition dinner. And that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Allen. That brings us to the second public comment period. Anyone who wants to speak, please approach the podium. Identify yourself, where you work, where you live.
My name is Scott Heaney. I'm a professional pupil distribution engineer here at Neshaminy. Just have a question. If Mrs. Markowitz is underneath contract until the end of June, why would the district go into a contract consultant now instead of waiting until the contract is up with Mrs. Markowitz? I'm stepping away. Done, actually. I think I got I was just curious.
Just restate the question again.
Okay, I asked if Mrs. Markowitz is still on the contract until the end of June, why would you enter a contract now?
Because, not to cut you off, Scott.
Okay,
Because it's really, he's filling in for Kimmy's position, because Kimmy left to
Okay.
go to Pennsboro.
okay, very good, thank you.
Okay. Now that my hearing's back. Anyone else? Okay. Any future topics? Any board comment?
Just real quick, I want to thank Mr. Feather, did something on your mind? I want to congratulate our varsity cheerleaders. My daughter, while she wasn't in the Neshaminy program, she participated in cheerleading for years, and it's quite an achievement to go down there and compete against teams and squads from other areas of the country and come out on top, so it's a great achievement. I want to thank our Pearl Buck students for a great demonstration and showing us what they're learning in the classroom. I think that the presentations we've been given this year by the various groups have been great. And the snacks, yes, and the snacks as well. And the
Next time bring dressing.
yes, and project-based learning always makes a bigger impression, and I'm glad to see how well we're incorporating that into the new curriculum. And I want to thank our support staff for staying with us for the whole meeting here. Even though those third graders ran home, you guys stuck it out, so we appreciate that. Other than that, have a great evening. Thank you.
Mr. Allen?
Yes, I'd like to start out by thanking facility crew and Car and Duff for their fantastic work working through the weekend to get this building back up and running. That was very unexpected. We were actually in a meeting that evening, and the lights went out on us, and we all ran home fast before they asked us to fix it. Or maybe that was me. Anyway, if you ever seen it, pictures of how that, transformers when they go, and then how much goes through trying to get utilities back up and running. That, I work in utilities, and I can tell you, to get it done that quickly is may not be a miracle, but it comes close to have that equipment on hand and back up running. So that's to be commended. I wanted to make sure everyone was aware of the hard work they put in and thank them. Also want to congratulate the red team. Sorry for my blue team, but everyone involved, they pulled off, from all accounts, another fantastic gym night. And again, that's one of my favorite times of the year, just to see this community come together. And I was not able to get there, but I hear it was a great time had by all. And it's always good to see the headlines in the paper representing our community coming together like that. And again, Pearl Buck, that hydroponics, that was fantastic. I love that. I love to see that. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm always a fan of stuff like that from Pearl Buck. That was a great presentation, and I love that. I'm a big proponent for project-based learning. When you do project and problem-based learning with kids, you give them the opportunity to act as the young adults that they're becoming, and prepare them for the future. And when you're talking about things like hydroponics, and project-based learning in general, there's so many jobs that have yet to be created that just don't exist today, that those kids are going to have first crack at because of something like this. So kudos to the teachers over at Buck for making that happen, and the principal there. So excellent job. Congratulations to the Neshaminy, the cheerleaders, and we're also hoping for the best for the girls basketball team. May they do well tonight. And then Bucks County Tech High School. We went to they have a great drama club there, and they put on such a fantastic performance. We were there, my wife and I went there last year, and it was a really enjoyable show, and it made us seriously consider going back this year. So it's definitely worthwhile. Those kids do a really great job. Congratulations on their awards. They're working really hard. And you talked about the summer exploratory program. My own kids are beneficiaries of that summer exploratory program. If you have kids in middle school, it's a nice, inexpensive way for them to spend part of their summer learning and exploring potential opportunities that they may want to view as a potential career someday. They have 3 weeks to to kind of learn some really neat and very useful things. And then the last thing I want to talk about is the Wizards. I took my family there. They always do a great job, so I'm really looking forward. I'm hoping we can make it out this time again. So, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right, because I want to get home because I got the opportunity to eat a giant bowl of hydroponic lettuce when I get home, probably. So, looking forward to that. So, like to make a motion to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting's adjourned.